Life Academy would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we record this podcast on.
Trigger warning, for this episode, we discuss adult themes, body image, diet culture, and it contains some coarse language, so please be aware if you have little ears around. Hello and welcome to
Life Academy.
I'm your host, Dena Amy Kaplan.
And I'm your co-host, Alicia Bennett.
On screen frenemies
to real life besties, just stumbling our way through this thing called life.
If you've decided to join us for today's episode, we can promise you some juicy yet very questionable life lessons. What's today about?
Today is about sex and scandals
and the City of Angels. We really worked on that title, guys.
We worked really hard.
We're just honestly just going to talk to you about some shit we got up to when we were in LA.
And I think as just young people living the life and single and our scandals.
Yeah. Our 20s.
Our 20s, basically.
Our wild 20s.
Yeah. And a bit of our teenage years, I think, too.
Yeah. Where should we begin?
Let's begin with,
Wait, first,
yeah.
How was your week?
Oh, man. My week.
Before we jump into Hollywood, just give me the real deal.
I'll give you a bit of a rundown. Okay, so we've been doing a couple of things at the new house. And honestly, can I just tell you, I wanted to buy this house in the hopes of not having to really do any work on it because I didn't want the dirt and the dust and all the shit that comes along with doing work, living on a work site basically.
Your boyfriend is a builder.
He's a builder, yes.
There's a lot of dust and building stuff around.
There's a lot of things that come with that. And we decided that we have a fireplace and it didn't work. So we're like, let's put in a proper fireplace. And I was like, now, is this going to be an easy process? And Zach was like, yeah, it's going to be so easy. We'll just chuck that in there.
Just chuck in a fireplace.
Shove a flue up there, that'll be fine. So rightio, sounds good. So I come home, all of a sudden it's Zach there, my dad is there, and Zach's Uncle Keith is there as well. And the house is fucking covered in dust. And they've got, drop sheets just in front of where the fireplace is and half over our white couch. And I was like,
half over.
Are you joking me? And I'm pointing out every single white chair that we have. We've got these little bar stools that are a little bit white. We've got these other little seats. And I'm just looking at everything and I'm keeping a big old smile on my face because I'm like, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. I wanted this. And
it's going to be worth it.
It's going to be worth it.
Can I just say, coming from a girly with a fireplace in winter, Melbourne winter, having a fire going.
I grew up with one of those, and this is why I was like, hell yeah, let's put the fireplace in. No worries. I just didn't think – it ended up being they had to my dad and Uncle Keith were inside this fireplace knocking down bricks to be able to get enough for it. Was so if you can imagine all the dust and soot that was coming into there, I felt sick. And then I think the other funny thing that happened to me this week was I was cooking and Zach was out working and all of a sudden Isla went silent. I was like,
It's not like our Isla.
Yes, not like our Isla at all. And I'm thinking, something's going on. Something's going on. And I kind of search through the house and I get into my bedroom and she's just on our bed and I was like, are you okay, Bubby? What are you doing? She's like, I'm just throwing things out the window. I'm sorry, what? And I look out my window and on my back deck there is just multiple pillows, clothes, and she's gone into my drawers and just thrown things out. And I was like, oh, yes, you have been throwing things outside the windows. And she was just so happy and so nonchalant about it.
I've created a game.
She's like, it's just so beautiful piece of artwork out there. I was like, oh, shit. And so guys, if you have a toddler and you do not have fly screens on your windows, get them.
Get them.
That's my next thing. We're going to finish this fireplace and then we're getting goddamn fly screens on the windows.
You're in full like mum core mode, like just, fireplaces.
It's bringing the laughs though as well.
Yeah. Oh, good.
It's absolutely bringing the laughs. Like it's definitely, it's fun. It's keeping things interesting. How's your week been?
My week's been I'm very like in the depths of my studies at the moment.
Yes.
I've had assessments due, and so I'm just like writing academic essays, and this is like,
who is this Dena Kaplan?
Fuck knows, honestly. I haven't written an essay since year 11.
Yeah.
And now I'm like writing academic essays with referencing, and they're like, 600
and this is
for
psych and
psych. So it's psychotherapy, counseling, social work.
This is full on, and
I've got like 6 years ahead of me. It's a lot of work. So I've just been deep into that because I've had assessments due. So don't want to bore everyone, but deep into that. Just honestly, like stuck at my desk, 6 hours a day, just writing these assignments. And it's so hard to just not use ChatGPT. Like I just if I just
I'm nervous for our children. What are they going to, like, they're going to learn nothing. ChatGPT is just going to give them everything.
They're really strict at my college about it, and like,
but
the
how
integrity.
Do they know?
They have this thing called Turnitin, and it's a way they can check if you have used things like that come off the internet, or if you've paraphrased and used your own wording. And anyway, you're kind of screwing yourself over if you use ChatGPT, because I want to learn and I want to be the best, therapist, counselor I can be one day. So anyway, so I'm deep into that. What else is happening? Maya's hilarious. She's just on fire lately.
She's
like
so cute.
I don't know. Just everything she does is so
She's
funny.
getting more and more sassy as the time's going on.
Sassy by the minute. We call her like a teenager.
Yeah.
But she's just fabulous. And that's been life at the moment. Just motherhood. And actually something exciting happened.
Yeah.
As you know, I run wellness retreats for women, and we got our first corporate booking.
Stop
so we got a really big corporate client, and we're hosting a retreat for them for 10 people, which is really exciting, because the ones I run for women are really intimate. They're just 5 people.
Yeah.
So this will be about 10 to 15 people, and it's like a totally different vibe. Like it's a goal setting and community driven, and it's just been really exciting to like have
I'm so proud of you.
Like watch the business expand and be able to reach more people. So it's been a great week. Yeah.
Love that for you.
Lots of passion projects coming to life. But I'm not a great student, so it's great that I've got other creative things going on, because if I just had like my partner Alex, who's a doctor with a PhD, he has spent his whole life studying. And I said to him, studying has made me realize that I have done what I love my entire life because it's never felt like a day's work.
Yeah.
Whereas studying feels like work. And he's like, welcome to the club. This is my
to the
life.
real world.
Yeah, like all he does is research and study.
Yeah.
So it made me realize that You've
been so lucky.
I've been so blessed to just do what I absolutely love my whole life, from acting to dancing to DJing, like
just your
I got
creative
paid all
loves,
this money to just do what I love. But now it is time to get a real job.
It's honestly,
set myself up for the future, have some stability.
We love stability.
Yeah. We need
That's
that.
an exciting thing, isn't it? But here we are also like creating a podcast in the hopes that this will be our full-time work.
Can you imagine? Can you guys please follow and subscribe and do whatever the fuck you need to do so that we can do this full time?
Begging you.
Yeah. I don't want to study. I want to podcast
shit.
for the rest. No, study's great, but I would love to be able to do this full time. Wouldn't that be fabulous if this becomes a real job for us?
This is the dream.
It's the absolute dream. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with today's episode.
Yeah, talking about us living our dreams.
Living our dreams, living out
years.
The lives. We've had pretty crazy lives, and it feels like we've lived so many different lives. And I thought it would be super cool for the audience to get little insights into the really like fun stories and the famous people we've met, worked with, hooked up with.
Dena Kaplan.
Excuse me, Alicia Bennett.
Not even.
Oh my God. We also don't really know what we can get away with, and we feel like we need to be super careful. So there's even more stories that we want to tell you guys, but we don't want to get sued, 3 episodes into our podcast.
Yeah.
So we're thinking we're picking and choosing, and we're being careful.
Yeah. But just know that they're nuts.
What? Who's nuts?
The stories that we have that we're not telling.
Oh yeah, absolutely nuts and would blow your mind. But we just don't want to get
We're being
sued.
careful here. We're being, I mean, to a point where you're still going to get some really fucking cool shit.
Yeah, you're still going to get some juice.
Excuse my language, I'm letting them rip today. Yeah.
Okay,
Anywho.
I'm going to start with a really fun story.
Yeah.
So my first acting job that I booked in New York, I went to this audition and there was an Australian supermodel there, not Gemma Ward. She's like another one, but like in that vein. Like,
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. And they were looking for Australians to cast in this role. And it was my first acting audition that I'd really done other than like child acting. But as an adult, it was kind of when I just stepped away from dancing a little bit and wanted to try my luck with acting. First audition I went to, and it was for Flight of the Conchords.
Huge.
And so cool. I nailed the audition.
Of course you did.
No, not of course. I messed up 99% of auditions in LA, but that one I nailed because it was just like a really funny, sarcastic, like bogan Australian role, and I loved it. And it was actually to play Jermaine's girlfriend. If anyone knows the show, Jermaine's one of the lead actors and brilliant genius brains behind Flight of the Conchords. So anyway, I got the gig, and then it was really cool because at that point it had been bought by HBO.
Yeah.
So it was massive. So like I went on set and the catering truck, it was like, would you like an omelette? We make you omelets. It was like, what is it called? Catering in America again? It's called something else, I think.
Isn't it catering?
Oh, it's called.
Oh, the craft table. Craft. Yeah.
And it was like you could pick, it was like being at a resort. You could pick I just ate the whole day because like I went on. What actually happened when we did the table read, they decided I was too young. I looked too young to play Jermaine's girlfriend, but then they like wrote me into a scene where I was Jermaine's girlfriend's roommate. So I still like had some
You're still
scenes.
in there, yeah.
And the really cool thing was Michel Gondry was directing the episode. I don't know. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's a very famous director. He directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Am I saying that right?
Man, yeah.
Yeah, he's like an award-winning director. But he doesn't speak very much English.
Yeah, okay.
And I just remember him coming up to me and he was like, I like the way you look at his penis. Because I was doing like a joke line where like I say something and then I like look down it. I don't know. I can't really remember the scene. I've got to rewatch it. But that was pretty cool. Working with those guys was a pretty exciting experience.
Pretty unbelievable experience.
And, you know, working on HBO and like seeing the scale of, you know,
what
they have. It was just so fun. And it was in New York City, you know, getting to shoot in New York was just amazing.
What dreams are made of.
So yeah, I thought I'd tell you that fun little tidbit. I don't know if you knew that story.
I knew some of that story, but I actually didn't know that you were like recast as a different character.
Yeah. Would have been fun to have played like the actual lead role in the episode.
Yeah.
But I did look like his daughter more than his partner.
Yeah.
But God, they were so funny and the improv was so great. And then they were asking me to try to do a New Zealand accent to imitate them and something like you have to shag sheep but I couldn't do a New Zealand accent. It's
Which
really
is so
hard
strange
accent.
because I feel like a New Zealand accent and a South African accent isn't too dissimilar.
Yeah, people say that, but I find New Zealand really hard to do. Shag sheep.
Shag sheep.
No. 6. That's all I got.
You nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, your turn. Give me a story.
A story, I didn't get any roles in America.
It's bullshit. Some bullshit.
Such bullshit. However, I did this really cool audition and I don't know, how I ended up in this room, but I was auditioning for Pitch Perfect. It was like the second or third movie of it.
I die.
And there were so many famous actors in there. Elizabeth Banks was in the room.
So cool.
When I was in the waiting room, and I didn't know she was going to be in the room, mind you. I didn't know. I thought this was just kind of like first round of auditions. You go, no, this was all the way through somehow.
Oh, wow.
Don't ask me how.
Did you have to sing?
Yes.
Alicia Bennett.
Yeah, I had to sing.
What did you sing?
I honestly cannot remember. It's a very big blank
you
for
sang
me.
like some Katy Perry bullshit.
I genuinely have no idea what I sang, but in the room do you remember that movie Clueless?
Do I remember the most iconic movie of all time, Clueless? No.
The guy that everyone's in love with.
Paul Rudd.
No.
I'm going to die. I was about to lose it.
Everyone is in love with Paul Rudd, but no.
The one.
Rolling with the homies. Him. Yeah, so that guy. He was in the room and so was, her name is Miranda Cosgrove. Was in that room
iconic.
Waiting to audition as well. I was sitting in there and I'm just seeing these famous people like, damn. And then I went.
You got far in the process.
I went into that room. Elizabeth Banks was in there and I had to act and sing in front of her. I finished and she was like, you're so cute. I was like, Elizabeth Banks is so cute.
That's a really good story. I didn't know that story.
Yeah. I honestly forget to tell my cool audition stories because for the most part they just destroyed my soul. So.
Yeah, I was about to say 99% of my stories are about rejection and soul destruction. But then, all right, I've got another good one for you.
Okay.
So this one's really cool, but also devastating. So I auditioned for this film called Get Him to the Greek with Russell Brand and Jonah Hill. And my audition scene was actually a sex scene. I don't know if you've ever done an audition scene where you have to have sex.
No.
So like I'm in the audition going,
God.
It was pretty hilarious.
How terrible of them to also do that to anyone,
Well,
mind
it was
you.
a very comical scene. It was a scene where I think I was having sex with Jonah Hill's character, but I was trying to get information on Russell Brand's character because I can't really remember the details. Anyway, I got the job.
Wild.
Great at sex.
Obviously.
Fake sex. I should go into porn. But got the job. So I went and did the table read. A table read is what you do before shooting. You know, all the actors get together and we read on a table. Stupid details. But yeah, we read the script. Nicholas Stoller was the director who I was like stoked about because he's in that Judd Apatow world. So I was like, and he came up to me. Russell Brand was sitting on one side of me, and Hill was there, and Nicholas Stoller came up to me and he was like, your audition was hilarious.
I love
And I was like, oh my God.
This
is the best of my life. Yeah, it was honestly the best moment of my life. Like imagine.
Huge mind-blowing moment.
Yeah, like Jonah Hill and Russell Brand are looking
with.
at me with the director telling me that my audition was hilarious.
Yeah. I just feels like your dreams are coming true when shit like that happens.
It felt so, honestly, that's felt the closest to my dreams ever because that's, I've told you before, I really wanted to do that. I wanted to do the comedy stuff in that world.
Yeah.
And once you're in with them, they just like reuse all the same peeps. So I was like, this is my in.
Yeah.
And my manager, who my darling friend and manager, Mr. Michael Aglion, he drove me to like the lot wherever it was, Universal, I'm pretty sure it was. Mm-hmm. And he picked me up and he was like, how was it? And I was telling him all about the table read. Super professional. Jonah Hill had like all his friends there in the crowd for the table read because he wanted to see if they found it funny.
They had a crowd at the table read?
Not in ones I've done in Australia, but for this one there was so many producers in the room and then all Jonah Hill's friends.
Wow.
And I guess he wanted to get like a reaction of if it was funny or not. And who's The Handmaid's Tale?
Which one?
The lead actress. I've gone blank on her name. Lead actress from The Handmaid's Tale, phenomenal actress. She was there.
She's Australian too, isn't she?
No.
Yeah.
She was there. Jonah Hill was really nice. The musician that I can't name held up the table read for an hour because he had to go get something to eat. And everyone was just like, this is ridiculous.
This guy's a dick.
Yeah. Very controversial dick. Okay, so that's my other cool. But then I had my costume fittings. I had my table read. I was ready to go shoot. This was my moment. And then I got a call from my American agents to say, it's not going to work out. Your visa hasn't come through. And it's not going to come through in time for shooting. They're going to go with an American because, so this was like after all the Broadway disappointments had happened. And I was at this point just like, I just remember crying and being devastated and so heartbroken. Yeah. And I'm just so thankful that luckily Dance Academy landed in my inbox the same week. Yeah, because I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I was so upset.
Almost like to the point where it's like, that's it, I'm quitting, I can't do this. Because that was that was the second time that Or the first time that it happened to you? No, second time because the Broadway thing.
The Broadway thing had happened twice. And then this had happened. The movie was the third time it had happened. So I was just like absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
So another audition story that I have, I auditioned for, you know the show The 100? Or The 100? I don't know. Yeah. So The 100. So I auditioned for that. I remember it was one of my first big auditions in LA. And like everything, you'd go into the room. You'd got first round of auditions were always in the room at this point. And
everything was in the room. We weren't on tape. Because everything's on tape these days for the non-actors out there.
Yes. And it is, it was so amazing to be in this room. And I think I definitely recognized a whole bunch of different actors. However, I was so nervous about all this. And at this point, I don't think I'd had like a card for my phone. I think I was just using Wi-Fi whenever I was in Wi-Fi. And I was like, I got there in an Uber from ordering it from my house. And then I was like, how am I going to get home? I'd finished the audition and I was like, I'm stuck. And I'd walked out of the building and I started freaking out, and there's no cabs in LA either. And I'm like, I can't even hail a taxi. Like I'm going to be stuck in this weird area in LA, and I was so nervous. And then
there's also no one walking around in LA. Everyone's just in their
cars.
No one walks.
Everyone's in their cars.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys who was auditioning for The 100 as well that I saw up there, I recognized him from a few different Disney shows. His name is Sterling Knight.
Oh, I know that name.
Yeah. He was this gorgeous heartthrob on Disney Channel back in the day.
I'm Googling while you keep talking. I'm Googling.
And he'd come out and I think he'd seen that I looked distraught, and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I can't order like a cab or anything. I don't know what to do. And he was like, well, do you want to lift home?
Oh, him, what a sweetheart.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay. And in my mind, I was like, is this one of those instances where I jump in the car with someone and this is the end of my life? I was like, no, this guy's lovely. I know him.
Yeah,
it's on Disney Channel. And he wasn't a serial killer. He was the loveliest, most beautiful guy ever. And then we got to my apartment and there was no even like, hey, let's switch numbers to like try and catch up. None of that. I was just like, thank you so much. And he was like, I'm so glad I could get you home safely.
He was just doing a good deed.
Doing
a mitzvah.
Yes. And I got out of the car and I've never seen him since. And I mean, it's just like probably a real missed opportunity to hook up with someone that was gorgeous.
Well, that's a really sweet story. Yeah. I like that one.
It was very sweet, and it was a very nice way to start my audition process.
Did you get a call back?
No, actually, in fact, when I asked my manager if there was any feedback, she came back to me and apparently they had said that Alicia will never be a leading lady on the CW. This is why LA absolutely destroyed me.
For listeners, my jaw is on the floor.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no word of a lie.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Like you could just say to someone she's not right for the role. You don't need to destroy their soul.
Yeah. I think they must have been really angry that day.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
You are a leading lady, and that is just such bullshit.
I never got a role on CW, so now it's like my goal in life to get some kind of fucking lead role on the CW, just to be like, see, I told you, but
except you have to be like 17 and I don't know.
There's a few different. There's Good Cop, Bad Cop. That's CW.
That's true, and we love Luke.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Luke.
So
he's
many,
brilliant.
There are some brilliant shows actually on the CW. It genuinely is amazing.
Okay, I didn't know. Where do you watch the CW in Australia? It goes to Stan,
there's a lot of either Stan. I think it's Stan. I think there's some of their stuff is on Netflix as well.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, probably just streaming services.
Anyway, I hate them for saying that to you, and I'm never talking to them again.
I don't know who within there. And I remember saying to my manager at that point, I was like, are you going to drop me? Like, is this the end of everything? She was like, no. She goes, honestly, someone was having a bad day. She goes, I don't believe that. She goes, you're going to make it. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that was really nice that she had my back.
Yeah, because it's just there's just a way to say to people you're not right for the role, and then there's a way to destroy their
But I was also kind of like, why did you tell me?
Yeah. I feel like if I was a manager, I would not tell my clients especially if they just arrived.
Yeah. So it was my first pilot season. Oh my God, yes, tell me.
Okay, so I filmed this not very good movie in South Africa, but I was very excited.
Great movie. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have. Of course I have.
Okay. I love these movies.
Okay, well, for those who don't know, I filmed a remake of Honey.
Great movie.
Yeah, and we did it in South Africa. I honestly didn't even read the script. I just saw that it was filming in South Africa, and I was like, I want to go back. I haven't been back home since we immigrated.
Yeah.
So I really want this job. And I saw that she was a dancer, and I was like, you know what? Tick, tick. I can do this.
Do it.
Went to the audition and got the gig, and that
was
really
that a
fun.
long process or a short process?
Very short. One audition.
What?
One audition. Yeah.
And you were such a big role in that as well, that was one audition and you just were straight on set.
Yeah.
That's
it
huge.
was one audition. There was no one in the waiting room.
Like no chemistry reads or anything.
Walked in, did the audition. And Cassie was cast in the lead, Cassie Ventura.
Yeah.
It's me and you.
Yeah. I was obsessed.
I've been waiting. So that was really cool, and I was excited to meet her, and she was absolutely divine and lovely, and we really connected and had a beautiful time together.
Beautiful human.
Great stories. But one of my favorite things is that one day we were sitting in the makeup chair.
Mm-hmm.
Her and I will always get hair and makeup done at the same time because our characters were pretty much in all the scenes together.
Yeah.
And this movie was basically like Step Up, Save the Last Dance, Honey. They basically just combined every dance movie and like, so you think you can dance and you want to battle, and it just like it's just so like one good. Line after the other about dance movies, and then they just like mushed it together.
Yeah.
Put Cassie as a lead.
Which is why it's such a great movie. I love
Honestly,
all of those movies
I find it hard
so
to watch,
much.
but the dancing is
unbelievable.
The South African dancers were next level. Most of them are not trained. Like most of them are street dancers.
That's nuts.
And we had the best time. We vibed so hard. We partied all the time. We went out in South Africa. Just had the best time. But yes, my great story, which my little sister freaked out about when I told her this yesterday. She didn't know. One day Cassie was in the makeup chair. She used to FaceTime all the time while she was getting her makeup done.
Yeah.
And one day she was casually FaceTiming Beyonce.
Insane.
And I was sitting next to her, and I was
insane to think that you were like basically in the same room as Beyonce.
I was like, Beyonce's on the phone.
Just casually.
Just Bae. Bae's on the phone.
Bae on the phone.
So that was pretty cool.
And they were just chatting about life?
I don't know. They were just chatting. I was just freaking out. I was like, Beyonce's on FaceTime.
Yeah.
And then, but Cassie was so sweet. You know, when we finished filming, she gave me this gold, like real gold ring, and it said like best friends, and it had like diamonds in it.
Beautiful.
And yeah, we really connected, and we still do. She messages me, and she's just such a beautiful soul, and obviously been through so much.
Yes.
And yeah, just really love her. So shout out to Cass. If you want to watch Honey 3, I recommend it to watch the dancing. You might want to mute the rest.
No, it's so good. Yeah. If you love all those cheesy, like they're cheesy, that's why it's so great. If you know what you're going into when you're watching those movies.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah. All right.
I love them.
Fair call.
Yes.
Fair call.
Thank you. I know it is a bloody big fair call.
The dancers blew my mind. Like it was a bit like Dance Academy. You know how the extras in Dance Academy were phenomenal?
Yes.
These guys who weren't even really extras, they were more like featured dancers. Yeah. They were just next level, and the choreographers were phenomenal. This guy, Rudy, oh my God, so good. So that was really cool.
I met one of them actually. We went to a festival together. The gorgeous man with the long dread hair.
He was Shez, you met.
Yes.
He's dancing for FKA Twigs now.
Just casually.
Casually, yeah. He's done amazing.
Yeah.
Chester. Yeah. I think actually Chester goes as they now. And they are dancing for FKA Twigs.
Amazing.
Just killing it.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by that.
Got any more rippers for me?
Any more rippers? I mean, no, I think one of the coolest things for me, I mean, I'm, talking about how much I love all those dance movies. Another thing that I loved when I was younger was Chris Lilley and We Could Be Heroes.
Of course.
So the audition story for that, I remember I didn't even get an audition for Summer Heights High. It was all very hush-hush. And I'd pretty much just gotten into this new high school, or maybe I hadn't even left VCAS yet. I think it must have. Oh no, sorry, I had
filmed at your high school.
No.
Okay.
But the audition process was, I think when people got an audition for it, in the brief it said like bring a friend along, and my girlfriend who I danced with, she got an audition for it. We were in the same agency and she was like, oh, come along. And so we went to the audition and I obviously just like nailed it. It was pretty much just talking. They got us to sit down and talk and none of us had a clue what it was for. And I then
So cool.
I got a callback for the callback for it. I walked into the room and Chris Lilley was in there and I just like lost my tiny little mind. I was like, what is happening? And I genuinely I was just like, oh my God. And it kind of started to all click and I was like, it's another one of those things.
It's another Chris Lilley
There's another
project.
Chris Lilley project because I was obsessed. My favorite character in We Could Be Heroes was Jamae.
Obviously.
Balumbo Shamanaka. Balumbo Shamanaka.
Jamae's like the greatest character ever.
So funny. I mean, all of his characters are so funny.
I love the one. You got your period, miss.
Yes, literally. Jonah, yes.
Jonah.
So then, when I ended up getting the job, actually a funny thing happened in that audition process as well. I thought we were going in and like straight away I kind of created this character where I was just like, I'm going to play just a bit of a, skanky girl and just kind of play on that Jamae thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And we got into the audition and the casting director was like, oh, let's just have a chat, guys, and she was asking me questions and I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, I had like homework to do, but I was like, I'm going to go hook up with this guy instead and blah, blah, blah. And I just remember seeing everyone's faces be really shocked. And I was like, why is everyone so shocked at this? I was like, this is weird. And then they got on to talking to the next person. And it was at that point that I was like, oh, they're just telling their real life stories. And I just had to cut everyone off. And I said, I'm so sorry. I said, but I was totally acting before. I was like, I did not just like go and randomly like hook up with someone when I had to. I was like,
I'm just doing some killer improv
that was
here,
just
people.
Improv, I swear. And she was like, oh, okay, great. Well, we'll just come back around to you and we'll ask you about it. I was like, oh. Life saved at that point. But yeah, then obviously getting the role of that, I was so excited to meet Chris and talk to him because also finding out that it was for Jamae.
Yes.
And the show was surrounded around, different characters that he was creating, but he had
What
Jamae
was
in
he
this
like
one.
to work with?
He was incredible and his mind is unbelievable.
Such genius.
Yeah. I expected him to be so loud and out there, kind of the way that we all are and kind of the way his characters are. And then when I first met him, he was the first day on set, I remember coming in and I was like, oh, hi, Chris, how are you? And he was like, oh, hi, Alicia, I'm good, how are you? And I was so taken aback because I expected this huge personality and he was very quiet and reserved. And I was like, wow, did not expect that.
I've heard that about him.
Yeah. And then as the day would progress, getting into wardrobe, he'd open up a little bit more and then getting onto set, he'd be asking us questions and there'd be more of a sort of rapport with everyone. I was like, oh, okay.
Would he stay in character like as Jamae between takes?
So no, but he wasn't completely himself when he wasn't. So that's what I mean, that when he got into the wardrobe and stuff, he'd open up that little bit more and we'd be talking about the scenes and he'd be a little more Jamae. But then obviously when action was called, it was like full on Jamae and it was hardcore. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was, I mean, basically majority of that show is improv and he just said like, say this line and that line, make sure that somehow gets in there somewhere, but otherwise just follow my lead.
What an incredible experience.
It was so cool.
Also,
it was
like one of the greatest songs ever written, in my opinion, is Ecstasy.
Ecstasy. E, ecstasy.
Like Mr. G is
so good.
Like my favorite person in the world.
Honestly, you can't pick a favorite character that he's created. They are all so funny. I think because we can all relate to every single one of them. We're like, oh, yeah, I've been Jamae at some point in my life.
What an amazing experience for you.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. And like, I think at that time, I didn't know how big it would be because that also ended up on HBO.
Did it?
Yeah. I've been on HBO. I remember I saw an interview recently with Nicholas Galitzine and he mentioned, he was like, have you seen Summer Heights High? Dictation. And I was like, he's watched me? Like this enormous star who's just worked with Anne Hathaway is talking about Summer Heights High. He's seen me in a show. Like what?
People love that show. I just listened to a podcast the other day and they said I was listening for research to a Dance Academy podcast, okay?
Nice.
And like someone reviewing Dance Academy, and they were like, when Kat came on screen, they freaked out because it was the hot cool girl from Summer Heights High.
Please.
And yeah, like people
funny.
remember you from Summer Heights High.
Yeah, I honestly sometimes I get recognized and I think it's for Dance Academy, but it's for Summer Heights High, and I'm like, how do you even recognize me? I was 16. Yeah. I was a baby.
Babe, you're still the hot cool girl.
Oh,
cool. Hot, yeah.
I don't think I've ever been cool.
You've always been hot though.
Oh, bless you.
Always.
I think when I was younger, like 16 was peak for me. I was the hottest I've ever been at 16.
Yeah, 16 was a good age for me too.
And then it just was all downhill from there.
Who's the most famous person you've hooked up with?
Oh gosh, the most. I mean, there has been sort of. There's been many a Home and Away and Neighbours alumni that I've sort of kissed in my time.
You've worked your way through those casts a little bit, haven't you?
I mean, when you say worked my way through them, it was kind of just we were all young and single, and we all kind of like just
You're all
at
hot,
random
young
points
and single.
Kissed and had. I think there was a couple of boyfriends that I definitely had throughout that time as well. But
was Lincoln Lewis ever your boyfriend?
When I was like 16, yeah.
How funny. Because I did a TV show with Lincoln.
Yes.
Tricky Business.
That's right, Tricky Business. Yeah.
And we were lovers.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And I ran into him a few years ago
Bless
when I was
Link.
living on the Gold Coast. He's a sweetheart.
Absolute sweetheart.
Sweetheart. But I was like, I think he was your boy. He was
at one
for
point.
A hot minute.
Yeah, for a hot minute. I think so. It was just before he'd gotten on Home and Away, and I think I'd done Summer Heights High at that point, and we like randomly met. I think, maybe it was because I'd done Neighbours at that point. We met through like mutual friends that we had on Neighbours, and then it was such it was a very short-lived but very sweet relationship there.
So you still didn't answer. Who's the most famous? Are you allowed to say their name?
I mean, maybe the most famous person, because again, like I was so young and it was all just like kissing these random famous
Were they
people,
all
like
blonde, blue-eyed?
No. There was a couple of footballers in there at one point that I'd randomly kissed.
Just a couple?
Just a couple, a few. Nah, like maybe 3. But again, like these are all nights out that you just sort of randomly. I think there was one that I dated for a little bit, but it was just I was like, you're
what
boring.
team did he play for?
I am not saying.
Okay, I tried.
You tried hard. But there was also maybe
not that I would know
most
anyway.
famous person that I kissed was maybe like Jordan Patrick Smith, who was on Neighbours at the time, but he ended up on this show called Vikings, which was major and huge. He's a phenomenal actor. But I think maybe he might be the most famous person that I've kissed.
Great.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. What about you, Dena? Let me get all the saucy, because you are a gal who lived your life.
What does that mean?
You know exactly what it means. I want to hear all the gory. You've got so much more scandal than I was always so like unaware if anyone also ever had a crush on me. I was just like, oh yeah, they want to like maybe kiss me, but I never went any deeper. I was like, no one actually likes me. People were in love with you.
You've never known your hotness and your appeal to men. You haven't. We've talked about this so many times, but you really didn't. You like had no idea of your power over men. I think I knew a little bit more.
But I genuinely think your stories are so fun.
To be honest, until my beautiful partner, my life partner now, Alex, everyone I dated before that was a musician or actor.
Yeah.
And they're, to be honest, all very successful musicians and actors.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could just probably Google it and
figure out who Dena Coupland dated.
A bunch of famous actors and, a couple of very successful musicians. But like maybe, I mean, I've spoken about in other episodes. My ex-boyfriend was John from Rufus Du Sol. Yeah. So, they're Grammy winning. They're pretty massive. So I guess he's become pretty famous.
You call them a band?
But maybe my other famous hookup that was pretty fun was with Flume.
I love this so much.
And it's pretty funny because I was a big Flume fan. Like musically, when I went to my first festival to Splendor in the Grass with Izzy, we were watching Flume and like losing our minds. Like, we were like, this is the best music we've ever heard, because he's sort of revolutionized like music, and he like really brought his own genre to dance music. So
I mean, I personally don't know anything about it. It's not my
As
music.
a musician, I like deeply respected him.
Yeah.
And also he was just really hot. So that was a
also
fun.
something I do not understand.
Well, you and I will never see eye to eye on what hot is ever. But yeah, that was a really fun little hookup.
Nice.
Hopefully I won't get in trouble for saying that.
Nearly Hairspray.
Oh, okay.
And he's the one that sung the song that's like the sweeter the juice, something about like the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Yeah,
him. I was at a club in LA and I was very, very drunk because they free pour alcohol there.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's wild. And I was like, I'd had 2 drinks and that's usually kind of my cap. I would sort of stop myself there because I hated the feeling of being any drunker than that. I was like, I didn't like being out of control. Yeah, you have.
I have seen you so drunk that
no, because that's the thing. From 2 drinks, that's where I would get that bloody drunk, right?
I just had a really great memory of of us having to pull over the cab we were in because you had to vomit.
I guarantee you that was not me.
I really think it was. It was me, you, and Jared in a cab on the way home from the club, and we had to pull over the taxi because I think you had to vomit, or maybe it was me.
It might have been you. I honestly never, like, if I would vomit, it would always be the next day. I've never been it might have been
I
you.
had to vomit. And I just rewrote the story in my head as you, so I felt better about myself. It could very much be me. Every time I had a sip of alcohol, I vomited. It's why, I've been sober for a very long time. I'm telling you right now,
Dena, that would have been you. But
details.
But anyway, I was so drunk at this club, very, very, very drunk. And I kind of ended up, I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom by myself and I came out and he was there. And I remember like we kind of caught eyes while we were dancing a little bit earlier on. And I was like, damn, like he's got some moves. He's cute. And we sort of got up in each other's grills a little bit. And then Tim Pocock like swooped in and was like, you're way too drunk for this. And
God, Tim, fuck off.
It was so funny. But so I was very close to kissing him once upon a time.
Oh my God, I'm so mad at Tim.
I'm not that mad. I mean, I'm not Devo that I didn't
respect. He was doing the Big Brother thing.
He was doing the Big Brother thing.
Yeah.
He was really trying to protect me.
So you.
Yeah. But it was there are some crazy parties I think that I ended up going to in LA as well.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
I want to hear about them. I'll quickly tell you about one of my hilarious Vegas moments.
Yes, please.
So my sisters again reminded me of this yesterday because I messaged them saying we're doing this episode. Can you guys remember any good stories? And sent them a list of my stories. And they were like, you what? You did what? You did what? And I was like, but they reminded me of this one, which I'd forgotten. So we went to Vegas as a family and
as in like your parents,
my parents,
and your
like
3
my
sisters.
whole family, yeah. Like we went on a family holiday
to Vegas.
We went all over America, but we went to Vegas. And Gemma and I decided to go out to the clubs one night.
Yeah, nice.
And we like got really dressed up, and we both looked like
so hot,
mint. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've ever used that word.
I was going to say, please don't ever say mint.
I don't know
again.
why I said that. I've never used that word. Anyway, we looked
strike
stunning.
it from the vocabulary.
Yeah, we looked great. And we like went to this club and we got in, and the way we got in is we said that we were the Australian Pussycat Dolls. And then
you led with the Australian Pussycat Dolls, not the Australian Kardashians?
The Kardashians I don't think were a thing at this point.
Right.
Or they weren't. No,
they weren't that big.
The Pussycat Dolls were the thing. So we said we're the Australian Pussycat Dolls.
I love that so much.
And then they led us to this like VIP part of the club. You know how in LA all the clubs have the VIP seats with the rope, and this guy like let us in with the rope, and we were like sitting there talking to him, and we were like, we're the Australian Pussycat Dolls, and he was like, really, that's interesting. And we were like,
yeah,
and he's like, because I manage them.
Anyway,
we had
The Australian Pussycat Dolls?
No, he managed the real Pussycat Dolls.
You're
so he
effing
knew
joking
that
me.
we were talking absolute smack.
Oh, I love
but what
that.
are the chances?
So what are the freaking chances?
What are the chances? So Gemma reminded, my older sister Gemma, she reminded me of that story yesterday, and then we kind of got kicked out. They were like, you need to get out of this booth.
What?
Yeah, but it was fine. Then we like watched there was like performers dancing that night. And anyway, what are the chances that like we pretended to be someone and then we met their manager? It's just such a typical, LA Vegas
happened.
story.
Yes.
Like everything's just
I mean,
right
I have a Vegas story of like, I mean, I didn't even have to say that I was an Australian Pussycat Doll, and we got a VIP area.
Wow.
Like,
that's what happens when you're the hot girl from Summer Heights High.
Genuinely not. Me and my girlfriends, they were visiting actually. They were doing a little trip. Two of my girlfriends, they came over to LA and then they were going to Vegas. And I was like, you know what? I might join you on your trip to Vegas.
Fab.
And then, we were kind of like, just club hopping at this point, and almost at every club that we were getting into that were being let into the VIP areas with all the drinks. And I was like, wow, this is something else. And then there was one point where we saw Scott Disick there. Yeah. And
I love Scott Disick.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think he's hilarious.
I think he's very funny as well.
He cracks me up.
He's very funny. And one of my girlfriends, as we were leaving, she saw him like walk out. And she was like, that's it, I'm going. She kind of went with the group that he was taking with him. And me and my other girlfriend were like, oh my God, we had to run after
lead
her.
to the Kardashians.
Literally. And she, like, we bolted, and she'd run into like this back alleyway through this club, and it was all just bright lights all of a sudden, and we were chasing her and she was chasing them, and he's turned around and he's like, get this girl out of here. And it was very funny, kind of like you had to be there to understand like the quickness and the craziness of it.
I like it. I like the idea of chasing Scott Disick through avenues.
It was very funny, very funny. But that was it. I think that was at a club called One Oak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I went to that one in LA quite a few times as well.
Wait, you've been to some pretty hilarious Hollywood parties as well.
Yeah, I have.
Tell us.
So I think,
without us getting cancelled and sued, what can you tell us?
The one I think that totally won't get cancelled or sued was my very first experience at someone famous'
house. Yeah, I don't know how you say that.
Anyway, at someone's house who was famous.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. This was my very first experience going to someone's house who was famous, and it was Miley Cyrus's house.
I'll stop.
Yeah, so it was one of those things. We were at this club called Beach's Madhouse, and we had a whole group, and somehow there was like intermingled people that knew people, and there was like a 6 degrees of separation. She was always kind of
friends with Aussies because I guess through the Hemsworth connection.
Yeah, so at this time I believe she was in a relationship with Liam Hemsworth, and I think so there was just connections there. And I remember sort of seeing her at the club, and again, one of those things that we'd eyeballed at each other, and I was kind of like, oh, hello. She's seen me. I was like, oh, goodness.
Hello, Miley.
And then somehow, we ended up back at her house, and I remember walking into this incredible space, like the front door just opened. There was these enormous staircases, and then these candles that I swear were the size of me just sitting, like, I was like, what in the world?
I die for a big candle.
Yeah. And like, I'm not joking when I say the size
like
of me.
Huge. Yeah.
And they were all on and burning, and like it was so beautiful, this house. And we went further into the house, and the kitchen was incredible, and there was just like famous people scattered everywhere. Was
this her house?
This was her house.
Gosh.
And
to be rich.
Oh, to be so incredibly rich. And I was so also very innocent and like so nervous to be there that I had kind of like frozen. And I remember sitting down like next to this fireplace because it was a cool LA night as well, it was a bit cold. I sat down next to this fireplace, and one of her little dogs called Bean like came up to me, and I was just holding this little dog, and I was watching everyone around me just like smoking weed as well, because marijuana is legal in LA.
And loved by Miley Cyrus.
And it was, I just remember thinking I was so worried about the poor dog that I was like, is this dog going to get high?
Oh, fuck. That's just the most Alicia thing
like,
ever. Everyone's getting stoned, partying and you're worried about the dog getting high, getting secondhand high.
Legitimately, like that was my biggest concern. And I was just, again, like I was so out of my depth, and I was so, because I just, I don't think I really had any kind of a thought that I belonged in a space like that. And I was just kind of nervously looking around at people, and I locked eyes, I remember, with, maybe I shouldn't say that he was there. Yeah, I won't say that.
You locked eyes with someone.
I locked eyes, who is the child of a very famous singer. And I just remember thinking like, damn, he's hot. And then anyway, as we were also leaving, everyone was kind of saying goodbye, and Miley came up to me. She's like, thank you so much for coming. And I was just like, I'm sorry, what? You're speaking to me, thanking me for coming to your house? I was like, thank you so much for having me. Like, you breathless.
I protected your dog.
Yeah, I was like, I saved your dog from getting stoned. Like, but it was, that was one of the craziest kind of very first experiences that I ever had in LA.
Wild.
That I was like,
that would have been
so wild,
mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was crazy. I remember she was playing her album, her Wrecking Ball album there as well. It was amazing. And she was so lovely. I just remember thinking like I did not expect her to be so nice and literally thank me for coming to her house. So
that's cute.
Yeah, that was really cool. I think I felt so lucky.
It's super cool. I like that story.
Yeah.
Any other parties?
I went to a party at a very famous singer's house. It was quite controversial in the 2000s, I think. And there I was also, once again, just so out of my depth. There was, I shit you not, silver platters of illicit drugs being handed around. And I was just like, what in the world am I doing? It got handed to me and I was like, what do I do with it? What do I do with it?
What did you do?
I just handed it to the next person. Like I honestly have never touched drugs in my life. I've never touched illicit drugs in my life. I was so scared. I've always been that girl who's like, that one time you try a drug, you will die. I had like the fear drilled into me when I was a kid, and it's I'm telling you, Dena, it is still there. So I was,
You know what? It's a good way to be.
I'm glad that I didn't delve too deep into anything like that. But I think
Did you stick around at the party, or did that sort of put you off?
No, I stuck around. Because it was all just also very weird. Like people would always come in and out. At one point someone was like, Leonardo DiCaprio's here. I don't know if that was true. I never saw him, but I was like, what in the world? Like it just felt so strange.
It's just kind of fun to be at those things.
To have those big names
at your fingertips. Yeah. And it all just feels so ridiculous.
So ridiculous. I think there was, I was so excited to go to this party. It was an Oscars party, I think it was. And Chris Sebastian he was in LA, and we'd been friends for quite a few years at this point, and he'd invited me to go to this Oscars party. I was like, hell yeah, I'm so excited. And I got all dressed up because he said it was like, quite a dressy event. I was like, okay, got, this gorgeous red dress on and heels. And then eventually found out that it was going to be at Neo's house. And that's the type of music, like that is my jam, Neo music.
I'm trying to think.
My sexy love, do, do, do. Yeah, it was just my jam.
Neo is a vibe.
Yeah, so we got to his house, and I remember the elevator was broken in his house. And
elevator in his house.
Yeah.
Casual.
Yeah, just super casual. Says Dena Kaplan with the elevator in her house.
That is not my house.
Sorry, that was your parents' house.
That is my parents' house.
Yeah.
I cannot in any way claim that house.
But I remember we had to walk up the stairs, and another just big stunning house in the Hollywood Hills, and we got up to this one level and he was there, and he introduced himself and shook my hand. And I just remember, he introduced himself with his actual name. Couldn't tell you what it was. I still have no idea, because I was like, Neo shook my hand. This is crazy. What in the world? I walked up that stairs. I said to Chris, I was like, I'm never washing this hand again.
Oh, you're so cute.
I was such a big fan of him, and it was just such a lovely night. And Chris and I were both kind of, again, out of our depths. I was like, what do we do? Do we just kind of like sit here, or do we mingle? Both of us were so
stand there and look hot in your red dress.
I just honestly, and I think it was a kind of just crazy thing to be at this insanely famous person's house. But yeah.
Do you want a fun fact?
I want a fun fact.
I was in Chris Sebastian's music video.
Oh my God. I think I knew this at some point.
I was the love interest, and he did like a full on like, I don't know, like, you know, like the full on typical American music video with a girl in a sparkly dress and like looking at each other from across the way. I think you can find it on YouTube. I can't remember the name of the song, but if you Googled Chris Sebastian, I don't know, it was one of his first songs he released.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm very good friends actually with Jules and Guy.
Yes.
So that's kind of how it happened. I was hanging out with Jules and Guy. I was actually staying at their house for a bit because I was in a bit of a toxic relationship. And
I met Jules and Guy through you as well.
Awesome.
In Thailand.
Okay. Oh my God, of course they did. That was so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I just remembered. Oh, fun.
I know.
Gosh, we've had some fun times.
We've had some great times. Sorry, I cut your story off.
It was just that I was in his music video, and I've totally forgot about that till you just brought him up.
Yeah.
I need to get in touch. I love Jules Sebastian so much. She's
the most beautiful.
She's a very special human being, and I really miss her. And Sammy Jade as well.
Yeah, I don't think I ever met Sammy. Do you know what though? I did see Jules and Guy and Chris and Jeremy at a winery that I was recently at. I was there for lunch with my girlfriends, and I walked down and I just clocked Chris, and I was like, hold on a second.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it was so nice to see them again as well.
It'd be really nice to see them. We were living in New York, my older sister and I, and we went to this like tiny little bar club thing, like a little jazz bar, and Guy was singing there. And he was like still trying to like build his career and his name in the US. Oh yeah. And Jules was sitting at a table by herself, just like watching him. It was so like innocent and pure. And so we went and sat with Jules, and we were like, "Are you Australian?" And she was like, "Yeah." And from then on, her and Gemma, my older sister, like became really good friends.
Yeah.
And then that was how that connection happened. And then I met Chris through Guy, and he asked me to be in the music video.
I love that so much.
I felt so cool. I felt like
you were cool, and you would have looked unbelievable.
Jules actually
in that as well.
styled me and did my hair and makeup. She's a really amazing
She did
stylist.
my hair and makeup and styled me for a photo shoot that I did actually.
She's so good with that stuff.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
Multi-talented. But what about do you have any story? I mean, you've got so many stories from LA.
I've got so many stories from LA, but so many of them I like probably can't talk about without getting sued. So
really?
Yeah, I just feel like I've got to be really careful. But I'll tell you another cool audition story that you might not know about.
Yeah.
I auditioned for Cirque du Soleil for the Vegas residency, and I got down to the final 2.
What?
And it was a contemporary dance audition all the way through.
Okay.
And then for the final round, where it was just me and this other girl who was more of a gymnast and I was more of a dancer, they took us to, what's the big college in LA? Is it Columbia or like?
I have no idea.
Okay, whatever, one of the big colleges in LA, they took us to their swimming pool, and we had to do all these crazy tests, like diving off the highest diving board and holding our breath underwater for as long as possible, because it was one of Cirque du Soleil's shows that includes water. I think it's called like O or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And like basically like the dancers or the performers, they jump from the stage into the water, and then they like go into like tanks and they don't come back up, and it's like this whole spectacle of like, where did they go? And so you've got to be really good with holding your breath, and like I had to swim like a whole lap holding my breath. But the scariest thing was like these huge Olympic level diving boards. They wanted us to like do tricks off them. What? Like I was like terrified. I don't get scared of a lot of things, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I'm not I don't get scared of heights or anything like that. But I just remember walking out like on this plank as it's shaking so high. I can't even explain to you how high. And I did like a big split jump off it, like a jeté, because that's like all I could think of doing. Like I wasn't going to do a flip off it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't get the job. The other girl got it. But
do you remember the other girl? Because I know someone who was in Cirque du Soleil, but it sounds like a similar situation.
I just know she was a gymnast.
Was she blonde?
I can't remember. Can't remember.
Because I know a girl who's a gymnast, and she's now this incredible stunt double all over America. Like she's been Margot Robbie's stunt double. She's been
that's so cool.
in Mad Max, Anya Taylor-Joy's stunt double. Like she's unbelievable. But she did Cirque du Soleil and she was a gymnast. She grew up being a gymnast and like was full on in.
Wouldn't that be wild if it was her?
Yeah.
Yeah,
6 degrees of separation.
I don't know, but I remember it being a real a job that was everyone really wanted because you get life insurance with Cirque du Soleil.
Wow.
And you get a car and they put you up in Vegas in like a really big house.
Yeah.
So everyone wanted
You mean life insurance or health insurance?
No, you get life insurance because of the risks of the show.
Wow.
They give you life insurance. So like it was a very, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but like very in demand job that dancers really wanted. I remember like people being really hyped because I did so many auditions for like backup dancing for artists that, you know, I did pretty well at, but like I didn't book anything. Like I auditioned for, who was the artist? I think it was Kesha or someone, you know, like just like doing that backup dance thing for a while. But I was like, no, I don't really want to do this.
It's not what I'm after.
And then but Cirque du Soleil sounded really cool. Like I was very excited about that. But anyway, it didn't work out.
Did you end up, were you saying that you also did like crazy dance things to get your O1 visa?
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. So right when I first got to New York, I had to get an O1 visa and it's like a whole process for our listeners who are not.
Pain in the ass.
It's just like a whole thing. You've got to get sponsored, but you can't get sponsored if you don't have a visa. It's like this vicious, impossible cycle. So what I ended up doing was taking like whatever job I could get because you had to have like 3 like references basically showing that you are like in demand in the country. I've forgotten what the word is.
Exceptional alien.
Yeah, an exceptional alien, literally.
Literally.
So some of the jobs some of the things I did, I mean, it's like out of a movie. Like there was this one club I like danced at, you know, in my underwear basically, like in swimwear, dancing on a tabletops in the middle of Times Square.
What?
And I did it for one night and I have never felt more disgusting in my whole life. Like just these
so
like
degraded.
drunken
Especially in the
like,
middle of Times Square.
Yeah, it was like drunken tourists like yelling at me take it off. Or, you know, like
gross.
It was just feral. I was like, I am a professionally trained fucking Alvin Ailey dancer. Like I am not doing this.
Oh, God.
So I did that for one night because it was, but the girls like, the girls were so sweet. It reminded me a bit of like that J-Lo movie where she plays a stripper and like they're all in the dressing room and like Hustler. Yeah, it was kind of that vibe. Like it wasn't sex work, it wasn't stripping, but I mean it was dancing on tabletops in a bikini.
Wow.
So I did that and then I did like just these other like crazy weird jobs just to try get my O1 visa. Like I can't really even remember what they were. I just remember just kind of saying yes to anything as a dancer just so I could get that visa, which I did. In the end, I got it. Yeah.
But what a journey to bloody get it.
Yeah, totally.
So annoying.
I'm just going to look at my phone if there's anything else.
Go for it. Yes, please.
I went to this this music producer's house. This was the craziest thing. They would throw these huge parties like twice a year, and one was over. Oh my God, I've just gone blank. What did we dress up for Halloween?
Yeah.
And so this was their Halloween party, and the theme was underwater or something. And like you'd walk through the house, and they had like all these like decorations. Like it was
full on.
It was like you were tripping balls.
With things like that.
And like in every room you went into, there was like people doing different things, and like there was a lot going on. It was wild, and everyone there was like, you know, a musician or an artist of some sort. But there was this secret room that you like.
I love how everyone's just in like random rooms doing their thing.
Yeah,
and then there's a secret room.
And they asked me to DJ as well. So like I was not partying because I knew I was going to be DJing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I heard about
game.
Sorry,
you had to be on your game.
I had to be on my game. Always when I DJ, I never DJ drunk or anything like that.
Yeah.
I always like to be switched on for when I DJ. But they had this secret room that like you had to find, and it was, I'm not joking, and we can post a photo on our Instagram or something to show the proof. The entire room is just covered in fluffy toys, like from ceiling to floor. it was just fluffy toys, and you like would go into this secret room and just like jump and like land on all the fluffy toys. And I've got a photo of me in there just being like, and it's just like me surrounded by these fluffy toys.
As in like they're all up the walls and
everywhere.
The ceiling
Like imagine this whole room.
Oh my God, it's like the fluffy wall in Get Him to the Greek.
Yeah, full circle.
What?
Full circle.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and then I guess the other like crazy magical sort of experience that I had in LA was like going to Coachella as a punter, and then a year later.
When you say as a punter, does that mean as someone who's just going to
as a normal human just going as a punter? I don't know what the word is. And versus the following year going to play as an artist,
just casually DJing on a stage at Coachella, like insane.
But what was really insane was the backstage. It's wild. Like there's a whole magical backstage area for artists of Coachella. There's a lake with like, there's this like fucking lake. Like I can't even.
Like a man-made lake?
No. I don't know. I guess so. It's the desert. So I don't really know, but it's the most beautiful backstage area. Everyone's got their trailers with their name like handwritten with sparkles. And all the artists are just hanging out backstage, like every artist you can imagine. Like I can't, like literally everyone famous was there.
Wow.
But I just remember sitting with Izzy at this like lake backstage, and we were like, this is the most magical place. And it was so cool because as an artist you could stand in like the VIP areas to watch whatever artist was playing. But I don't remember too much of the rest of that because I was partying hard and having a good old time.
Having a ball.
Yeah, we were having an absolute ball. But yeah, my DJ set was great and that was a really fun time. I feel like those are my stories.
I love that. What about, I think you've told me before that you ended up flying first class.
Oh yes, that was wild. So when you know how we were talking about like America blowing smoke up your ass.
Oh God, yeah.
So when I arrived in America, I signed with a manager who he is now my very, very dear friend, and I love him so much.
Beautiful
we call him Maglian, the most amazing human. But he at the time represented very well-known actresses, including Claire Danes. And, Rachel Griffiths.
And you idolized Claire Danes, mind you. I remember you were obsessed.
I was obsessed. I've always thought Claire Danes is one of the greatest.
And that's like your career. You so wanted to have very similar to her.
Well, she's just, her career has been amazing to me, and I think she's one of the greatest of our time. But he wanted to sign. I met with so many managers when I got to LA. Like, oh my God, I can't even count how many meetings I had. And I met with Michael and we instantly clicked. We just we're like on a soul level, we click like
something
to this
special.
Day. I get emotional thinking about him. But like to this day, we've got like a soul connection.
Yeah.
And we just met and he was like, oh yeah, like I'm going to take care of you. Like whatever you want to do, like I'll take care of you.
I got your back. Yeah.
And he just was amazing. Like we flew to Australia and he flew me first class.
Oh, just casually.
He was just like, but he would like just say things to me like, oh yeah, I got a free flight. And I'm like, what? Like he would just not tell me. And I'd be like, how are you flying me first class? Like, isn't this costing a fortune? And he'd be like, no, it's free. I don't know. But it
of course he
wasn't
paid
free.
For it.
Yeah, he would just like do these amazing things for me. And he had like a residency at Soho House in New York. So when I went
Which
to
is
New York,
also something for the listeners that you don't, if you don't know, like getting into Soho House that you can't.
It's very exclusive. Soho House is a members only club.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, like, just like star filled. What's where all the stars hang out to like get away from paparazzi basically. But it's super gorgeous. But he had a place in New York in Soho House that he was like, yeah, go stay. And I remember staying there with my ex-boyfriend at the time. But we stayed there and we ordered Five Guys French fries to the bathtub. Like literally like room service. There was a bathtub in the middle of the room and I just remember eating fries and a burger in the bathtub in Soho House. And I was like,
oh my God.
This is life.
That's the life.
Yeah, this is life.
And those kind of things as well are the things that make you feel like, yep, this is it. I'm on my way to
I felt
success.
so on my way.
Yeah.
I really did.
That's amazing.
What an app.
What an app. That was a lot. There was so many stories in there and I feel exhausted.
I have nothing
reliving
left.
all of that.
I just want to go to my simple little life with my little daughter.
I want to eat a burger and fries like at my kitchen table. with my baby.
I never want to go back to Hollywood ever again.
No, God.
It's like
Exhausting
been there,
thinking
done
about.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm so glad we did it. We did it at the right time.
I think so too.
And now
we've
we're back
lived
in beautiful Australia, you know, with our beautiful families. And
Yes.
life is totally different.
And fun that we have these memories and some crazy stories that we can like reminisce on. But I am glad that they are in the past.
Yeah, I'm very glad. Speaking of which,
Yes.
do you have any recommendations for this week? Any dream work? Any homework?
You know what? Yes. I think because this ep has sort of been pretty crazy and a bit out there, I want to recommend some dream work is if you are somewhere where you can book in a class to Dena's Twerk After Work.
Oh, what?
Do
Shout
that.
out.
Yes, because it's kind of like finding your inner kind of goddess or god if you're a man. Like if you're a guy, you can go and do it as well. It's just kind of being free. And I think after thinking about how we were as these young people and just, you know, living these crazy lives and the freedom of it all, have a chance to go and book yourself into Twerk After Work and twerk it out.
That's so sweet of you.
Got you, girl.
Twerk is a safe space for all.
That's it.
It's very
safe.
inclusive
Yeah.
and it's a bucket load of fun. So
Yeah.
good recommendation.
Thank you.
But if you're going to do that, I'm going to spin one on you.
God, jeez. What have I even got? What do you mean?
If you don't know, Alicia is actually a brilliant acting coach and works with you work with youth mainly, right?
Yes.
Young actors.
Yep. But also there are some adults that I work with as well.
Oh, okay. Good to know. And I would highly recommend taking an acting class with Alicia, seeing as she's recommending my business. I'm going to recommend hers.
Stop.
I've never taken an acting class from Alicia, but I'm sure it's bloody brilliant because you're bloody brilliant.
Oh, that's so lovely. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm a brilliant teacher, but I think I definitely have a want to nurture the love of, oh God, that sounds so cheesy, the love of the craft.
No, it's real for you.
But
you
yeah.
have always loved the craft and you have been doing this forever. You've got so much lived experience.
There's a lot of, I do feel like there is sort of a lot of knowledge that I have and I'm really excited to be able to pass it on to my students. And I work at this incredible school called DHPC, Dan Hamill Performance Coaching. And there's some
it's
really
the real
amazing
deal, this school.
Yeah,
if you have
opportunities.
If you have a kid that is interested in performing arts, Alicia is one of the coaches there. And if you are someone who is interested in doing some acting lessons, check it out. We will put all of this in the show notes for you guys to check out.
Yes.
I feel like the bell's about to ring.
I also think the bell's about to ring. Thank you for joining us and being a part of this team.
Thank you so much. If you are enjoying Life Academy, please follow, subscribe, do whatever you guys do for
all the
podcasts
things.
so we can keep doing this for you.
Yeah.
Keep
And
reminiscing.
for us.
Yeah, it's mainly for us. But thank you so much. Class is dismissed.
The bell's about to ring.
Love you guys.
Yay.